What is going on, YouTube land? I am Chris Catalunya. Before we get into this shoe review today, go ahead and check out my Instagram, Chris Catalunya with the underscore at the end. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. Alright, let's get into the shoe review. Paul George has been on a roll in releasing shoes under the Nike brand. As of recent, we've had like the PlayStation collaborations, the PG2 PlayStations, we had the PG 2.5 PlayStations, we had the Air Force One Low PlayStations, and then now we have the NASA's. And if you haven't checked out my latest video on the PlayStation PG shoes, click the link above. Today we're talking about a shoe coming out from the Nike camp. It is Paul George's shoe. It is the PG3 and the NASA shoe collaboration. And I'm sure you're aware about this NASA trend that's just taken the world by storm. I'm kind of confused on the trend. I really don't get it. NASA's been around for a long time, but now they just decided to capitalize on like merchandising for it. I really don't understand it. We already had the Vans collaboration with NASA, which honestly was a great collaboration, and then now we have this. We have PacSun doing a lot of NASA t-shirts, Urban Outfitters doing a lot of NASA crap. I just don't get it. So Nike's design team went out to NASA and collaborated with their design team and took some ideas from like what astronauts would wear, what happens on space shuttles. They just took their inspiration from that whole sector and just implemented it with this shoe. And the reason why Paul George wanted to do a NASA shoe is because he grabbed inspiration from NASA, like reaching for the stars, how the NBA was his stars, reaching for those dreams. It's kind of a reach, but I get it. The PG3 NASA collaboration actually released on January 26th of 2019, and PG actually debuted this shoe against the Milwaukee Bucks. And it's funny because you go to the Slam article online and it says that Paul George wears his new NASA shoes and dunks on Greek Freak. It was just pretty funny. This shoe retailed at a price point of $120 USD, add a couple dollars for taxes based on your location. In terms of resale, this shoe is not doing too well. Whether you're looking on GOAT, StockX, or Grilled, you can see this shoe going for about $140 to about $150. There's not a lot of money to be made off of this particular shoe. And they actually came out with a different version of the shoe, or maybe the shoebox was different, which was offered from Finish Line, and I think you had to go to the Finish Line website to get that particular edition. Now that shoe is going for about $270, and I think it retailed at the same $120 price point. The release procedure for the shoe was kind of weird. They did release this on the sneakers app, and I think it did sell out on the app. They released the shoe on Foot Locker, but the nearest Foot Locker that had them available was in Dallas, San Antonio, or Houston, and I'm really surprised that they didn't have this at all in Austin, Texas. And it was really surprising that they didn't have this at any of the sneaker boutiques like Nice Kicks, Sneaker Politics, Kicking at ATX. It was just really weird to me, so that's why I took a trip to Houston. I drove the 2.5 hours to cop this shoe. And I'm not gonna even complain about driving to Houston to cop this shoe. I mean, it only makes sense to cop a NASA shoe in Space City. I mean, you got the Houston Rockets, you got the Houston Astros, everything named after space elements. I mean, if Houston wasn't mission control, we wouldn't have the phrase Houston, we have a problem. This is what the general release box looks like. Again, I got this from a boutique in Houston called Premium Goods. So it's done up in a white box. We have some silver foil going on. It says Paul George 3 because that's the model of the shoe, and it commemorates space exploration. It says Palmdale because that's where Paul George is from. At the front of the box, we have like a radar thing going on with the label right here. We have a grid system, radar with the Paul George logo right there, Nike swoosh, and more design. Alright, let's turn our focus and start talking about the details of this shoe. On the upper, it looks like this orange material right here is comprised of a nylon or a poly blend material. It's done up in a meshing style, and that enables breathability for your foot. Towards the bridge, we have this blue plastic or vinyl lockdown going on, and it is padded, and it protrudes out of the midsole right here. On the medial side of the shoe, we still have that orange meshing going on, but right here we have the Nike swoosh logo done up in black, and it is heat pressed into that nylon meshing. Now too, we have that vinyl or plastic material protruding from the midsole. This is the lockdown. Now what's different from this side to this side is obviously the color. This side is red, but we also have the fast forward logo that is depressed into that material. Now we can talk about the toe box, which is done in that same nylon orange meshing material, but right here where the big toe would be situated, this is done up in like a vinyl or a plastic TPU material. Now this actually protects the big toe, or it protects the shoe from fraying. Now the reason this is employed within the shoe is because there are some basketball players that do like to drag their toes in play. Getting into the lacing system, we already talked about the lockdowns featured on the lateral and the medial side of the shoe, so these actually features eyelets that are punched out. Now running up the rest of the shoe, we have eyelets featured in that TPU plastic. Now towards the bottom we have the two blue eyelets, and then right here is the yellow one. And note that this eyelet right here, the yellow one, is not the last one that is on the shoe. There is actually an eyelet right here that is punched into this silver pleather or leather material. The shoelaces that run through the eyelets are of an orange color and an oval shape. Behind those laces is the tongue, which is well padded, and it is actually enclosed with an orange neoprene material, which is pretty soft to the touch. What's actually crazy about this tongue is that it's actually molded from the toe box up to this point right here, the bridge area, and then the slits or the opening begins right here. On the tongue, stitched in, you'll see some black fabric that features some hoops so the laces can feed through. And the black strap goes all the way up, featuring a hoop at the top. At the top of the tongue, we have the silver material, and I'm not too sure if it's like a faux leather, a real leather, or a vinyl material. It probably most likely is like a vinyl material because it doesn't feel real, but it's done up in silver. Now, on both shoes, we have different designs going on. On the left pair of shoes, we have the PG logo, Paul George's logo, done up in like a navy blue and a red, and that's actually on top of this silver circle right here. On the right shoe, we have the United States of America flag, and this patch is actually embroidered. Getting to the heel of the shoe, we have this black cupping going on, and it feels like it's made out of like a nubuck material, so that arches over from the lateral up the heel to the medial sides of the shoe, and there's actually black zigzag stitching going all the way around that arch. Now both heel designs have they're different designs. So on the left shoe, we have the NASA logo right here, and this is embroidered onto the heel. On the right shoe, we have the Apollo 13 patch right here, and that's pretty cool because Paul George's number is 13, and then you have Apollo 13 right there. So cool. Of course, we have the orange meshing going across featuring that split, but right here at the collar area, we have this black nylon right here, and it features Paul George's logo done up in silver, and I think that is heat pressed in. Looking at the collar, it is featured in that silver material. Again, I'm not too sure if it's like a faux leather, real leather, or a vinyl material. And you'll also see some of that silver stitching done up in waves, which is pretty cool. Now, the reason why they employed a silver finish is because they wanted to mimic the astronauts' gloves, because the astronauts' gloves is like a silver foil material. So they thought that this was the closest thing that they could get. And I forgot to mention, on the right shoe and secured to one of the eyelets on the lateral side of the shoes, we have a red pull tab. On one side it says 661-1990-405. I'm not too sure what that stands for. And then on the reverse side it says remove before flight. So you don't have to rock it with the shoe. You can actually take it off. It is just attached with like a plastic tie, but you can put it on your backpack or your jacket or something like that. But this is something that is commonly used with NASA and the military, so it makes sense to have this on the shoe. Let's talk about the inside of the shoe. Now the lining is done up in a neoprene material, and it has a silver finish to it, and it is very well padded on the inside, on the lateral side, on the medial side, and at the heel area. Pulling the insole out, you can see there is a black piece of fabric laid upon a blue piece of foam that is pretty thin, but it's okay because the midsole employs a Nike Zoom technology. Now at the heel of the insole, on both the left and the right insole, we have the NASA logo in full color. Now we can talk about the midsole of the shoe, and you'll see that it's predominantly done up in this silver finish that wraps all the way around. And at the front, right here, it's done up in white or light gray. I really can't tell because this light is too freaking bright, but it features Paul George's zip code right here, or his hometown, Palmdale, California. It says 93552, and that's one of the things that I like about Paul George's shoes, is that he incorporates a lot of Easter eggs within his design. So you have like birth dates, you have his player number, you have zip codes, you just have all these different things, which is pretty cool. On the lateral side of the shoe, it's pretty predominant and in your face. We have this black Nike swoosh logo right here. Now at the heel area, we have some raised letters, and it forms a sentence saying don't tell me the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. And that's pretty cool. That's an inspirational quote that I'm more than sure that Steph Curry or Kyrie Irving would not agree with, because one is a flat earther and the other one thinks the whole moon landing was done in Hollywood. So the materials used in this midsole is of an EVA foam. It just happens to be Nike's Zoom technology, which provides a lot of cushioning and some stability to your foot. And that's why you don't really need a thick insole in this shoe, because you have all the cushioning right here that you'll need. Moving to the outsole of the shoe, it is done up in this black blown rubber, and the black blown rubber is to provide flexibility for when your foot's inside the shoe. Now you may notice there are a lot of O's or circles or like crater-like designs going on, and that definitely plays into that NASA theme. They wanted to recreate the like moon craters on the shoe, so that's what they went with. What's even cooler are that in these craters there are special numbers that are significant to Paul George. Like you have his birth date, which is done up in 5/2/90, May 2nd, 1990. You have his number in one crater, which is number 13. You have the zip code down here somewhere. You just have a bunch of different numbers. I don't even know what some of these stand for. 14, 18, 2010s when he entered the NBA draft. Again, that's one of the reasons why I like Paul George shoes. Things like that make the shoe. I love a story behind the shoe. So at the forefoot, we have these pods right here done up in different colors. Red on the left, blue on the right. Now these are a little less firm than the rest of the rubber, and this is for shock from when you jump or you make impact on the ground. At the arch of these shoes, it's kind of hollowed out right here, and in the middle, we have Paul George's signature done up in orange coloring. There's actually another Easter egg that I just found out. At the heel, there are these dots right here. This is a Morse code language or Morse code letter. So on this side, dot dash dash dot stands for the letter P, and then dash dash dot stands for the letter G. So Paul George's initials. Now we can talk about sizing. If you watched my PlayStation PG review, you already know that sizing on Paul George shoes it's quite atrocious. Now normally, my true to size in Nike is a size 8.5. I usually rock an 8.5 or 9, but for this particular shoe, knowing that it was a Paul George shoe, I went with a size 9. And let me tell you, I still could not fit my 8.5 foot in this size 9 shoe. I definitely would probably need a size 10. I would probably need to go a size and a half up just to wear this shoe. And it confuses me because I just don't know what kind of last they like modeled this shoe after. This is definitely not modeled after like a Jordan shoe or anything like that. I really don't know what lasts they're using for this. My advice to you, before you pull the trigger on this shoe, definitely go to the mall, hit up the shoe store, and get your sizing in this shoe. It doesn't matter if you try on the 2s, the PG2s, the PG2.5s, the PG3s, not the Air Force ones, that's totally on a different last. But try one of those shoes, get your size, and then come home and then pull the trigger on this shoe. Because whatever size you are, you're true to size, or even if you go a half size up, your foot is still not going to fit into this shoe. Sizing is just really bad on this shoe. It's just super freaking terrible. Now we can talk about comfort, which I really can't even talk about properly because I don't have the proper size shoe. Like me wearing this shoe for those specific like test on or try on segments, like my foot was numb while wearing the shoe. I couldn't even feel the cushioning system that Nike Zoom Fly or the insole. Like this shoe is hella tight. So in ranking comfort, it's super trash, but I would definitely like to know what it would feel like if I got the appropriate size. Final thoughts on this shoe. When the images were released or came to public, I really didn't care too much about this shoe, especially with the colorway, with that orange and then the blue. I really don't care about that color combination. I really don't like OKC colors. Honestly, the shoe did look good when Paul George had it strapped up for the game. Outside of that, I really wouldn't know how to wear this shoe. I think the theming is spot on, with the orange mimicking the orange jumpsuits that astronauts wear, with the silver mimicking the silver gloves that astronauts wear, and even having the patches of the American flag and Apollo 13 and the NASA logos. That's all cool. Oh, even the pull tab. Like, that stuff is pretty cool and it worked well. But the shoe is just not for me. I do like Paul George shoes and the fact that they implement Easter eggs in all of his shoes. On the PlayStations, on this shoe, I like how they incorporate his zip code of Palmdale, California, his birth date, the date he entered the player draft, and it's just pretty cool to know that there is a story behind this specific shoe. These little details play a role in the shoes, like even this inspirational quote of "Don't tell me that the sky's the limit when I know there are footprints on the moon." Stuff like that. Again, don't tell Steph Curry and Kyrie Irving. Alright guys, I think this is a good stopping point for this video. What do you think about this collaboration between Nike, Paul George, and NASA? Is it a good collaboration? A bad one? Were they off theme a little bit? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. Go ahead and check out my Instagram, ChrisCatalunya with the underscore at the end. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you know when I upload a new video. Alright guys, I am Chris Catalunya, and we will check you next time. Cheers, Sigina.